All right. Welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies to maximize your creativity and help you achieve financial freedom. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Nicholas.
How's it going?
You know, it's great. It's beautiful. That's such a vague question. I would love if we should start where every podcast you ask me one specific random thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. I mean, 67 episodes in, we figured out that Michelle hates when I ask how it's going in the beginning.
I don't hate it. It's just I don't know how to answer it besides it's going great because it is always. My brain automatically is like think of like the best thing and how I'm feeling, which is usually a good. I feel good all the time, most of the time. But yeah, I think that'd be so fun. Or maybe just a random fact of something that can add value to people instead of them constantly hearing that my day's going good. Because what if theirs isn't? That sucks. Like that's not fun to hear, right?
True. I like that. Okay, I'm going to start bringing a little more randomness in to the first thing we say. Episode 68 is going to be wildly different start.
Oh, we'll see.
Well, since you're doing good, we might as well kind of talk about, we might as well explore that a little bit more because, like you said, people don't want to just sit here and hear us talk about how we're doing great, even though we're not always doing great. It's just our default mindset is that things are okay, things are going to be fine, and things are fine. And that's kind of what our episode's going to be today. We're going to talk about just tapping into your zen more and just just ways and strategies that we use to make our default mindset positivity, because sometimes things are going horribly and if you ask me how I'm doing, I'll be like, peachy, things are great, couldn't be happier, even though like the world could be a little bit chaotic behind me. I'm still going to tell you that I'm doing good. And that's just like, I guess the first little trick right there that I use is find something to be happy about or grateful for always. And when people ask how you're doing, like, don't you hate when you ask how someone's doing and they're like, ugh, I'm exhausted. I did this today. I did that today. I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't fucking ask you that.
Yeah, I always don't know how to respond. I'm like, oh, that's awkward, especially if I'm on the elevator with somebody and then we're like, I'm like, this is okay, bye. Have a good one. Hope your day gets better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, now that I don't even want to be alive. So, anyway, let's begin with what it kind of took us to get to this point of like default positive mindset, because I can tell you I grew up default negative mindset. Even since I was in like second or third grade, I would come home from school and my parents would be like, how was school? And I was like, waste of time.
Wow.
I don't know if I don't like it was almost like from when I was so young that I'm like, I don't know who would have programmed me to think like that. I think I was just aware, kind of like we talked about on other episodes, like our time management episodes, and where I would yell at my second grade teachers and be like, "What is the point of this? Like, you have me trapped here for 7 hours. We've done 1 hour of useful learning. Can't I leave?"
Man, but that's all perspective, right? Because for me, I loved every single second I spent in school because I was connecting with people, learning about emotional intelligence. I was learning how to have a schedule. I was learning to be still, which I'm still learning. Um, but yeah, that's so funny. Nick, I'm so the opposite. And my sister Kristen would tell you, they always joke with me about this. When my grandparents ordered pizza one time, I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, they ordered pizza and the pizza delivery person ordered it with marinara sauce or delivered it and it had marinara sauce on it, which my grandpa was like allergic to. And so he was like yelling at the pizza person and got really upset, like, hi, I can't have this. And I looked at him and I was like, Papa, get over it. Like, I was like, get over it. It's fine. Like, move on. And that was like how I was born. I was just this, like, get over it. You're fine. Like, everything's okay. Stop making a big deal. Stop being dramatic. It'll be okay. Kristen, come up the stairs. It's not scary. I don't care if it's dark. There's nothing to be afraid of. Like, I've always kind of been that way. So it's so interesting to hear that you weren't always that way. That's crazy because that means it's coach like you can learn it.
Oh yeah, you can totally change. I I was born and I was like, all I wanted to do was be outside and and play sports and like climb stuff and like run. That was all I wanted. So being in a classroom truly felt like jail for 18 years, and I hated it. Every teacher I've had from kindergarten to senior year of high school would like have to walk on eggshells like to like pick on me for like a question because like you might get some attitude back, because I'm like if they're gonna ask me like some stupid question, like expect us because I'm very sarcastic and like clever. So like I would throw it back at my teachers all the time. Um which made it a little more fun, I guess. Like people like to sit by me in class cuz you could always catch me like just trying to make it entertaining or shit talking the stupid book that we're reading or whatever. Um but it's true, it can be learned. Like my default mindset was always negative, and I feel like it was in I feel like it was in college that I was like, let's go default positive. What changes do I have to make? What things do I have to cut out? And what things do I have to add in so that I can just change the way that I think? A big part of it, though, was just school. Like after school, different person, different Nick, unlocked. Like I'm getting together with my friends. I was friends with everybody. I would hang out with whoever. But yeah, let's start to unpack, I guess, like the ways to unlearn seeing life through the lens of negativity.
Yes, and also some people are born like me, but then they learn the negativity because it's so much easier to relate to people when you can talk about something, and it's so easy to talk about drama or tea or negativity or anything that's not positive. It's just so much easier. It's so much easier to be pulled down than it is to be lifted up. Like if you're physically standing on a stage, somebody that's on the ground can pull you down, but it's going to be very hard for you to lift them up. Like that is like physical, but it's also mental. It's so true. And so a lot of people that I grew up with that were happy, they're so not happy now. And I know it's never too late to change your mindset and to change your perspective, but it's really like, what are you looking for? If you're looking for something to be wrong, then you're going to find it. If you're looking for something beautiful and everything, you're going to find it. You know, these things are not good or bad. A lot of it is just like, what are you choosing to focus on? What are you choosing to be your reality? Because there's people that have come to visit and then they see something on the road, like, oh, look at that homeless encampment or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that. Like, I didn't. And I know I'm not as smart as like most people. I'm very ignorant in a lot of ways, which I kind of like and I try to stay in that way. But I think a lot of it is like, what are you choosing? Because it is a choice.
That's a really well said statement. Um, you're right. Most people like they take on more negativity with time. So it's interesting that I feel like so many people I know have a victim mindset, and I used to as well. And they don't realize that the big thing that they do is they put the blame on things that they can't control to let themselves off the hook. So, for example, like I know so many people that just get pissed in traffic, and it's not that big of a deal. It is not that deep. How are you going to let like you're blaming all these other people that are just trying to get where you're going? So are you. You're no different than these people. You're no better than them. What about traffic could possibly make you angry?
Yeah. Oh my God. That is such a good point. I never get upset in traffic. I never try to, like, we talk about this all the time because I have to drive because I get very car sick. I am such a grandma driver. Like, I'm such a good driver. And everybody likes riding with me because they're like, thank you for not being in a rush. Even when I miss an exit, which is almost every time because I'm so directionally challenged, even with the map on a big Tesla screen right in front of me, I like miss exits. And I'm never like, oh my God, like, no, it's not that serious. Like, it's okay if you're a few minutes late. That's why you should actually leave early. It's really your fault if you didn't leave early. I mean, obviously, not every time. There's always, but if something comes up, but if X, Y, and Z. But Nick, that's such a great example. That's a great place to start. Is like, are you the kind of person that gets upset in traffic? Let's start there because that's pretty universal. And a lot of people do get upset. And I'm like, yo, it's not that deep.
There are so many. Like when I go fish and I'm fishing off the beach, I'm not on one of my boats, there is there's this little bridge, this little tiny bridge that someone has to like go out from a little stand and like hand crank some things and set it up, and then the bridge goes up and a bunch of boats pass through. I've waited 20 minutes before at this bridge after a long day where I'm just trying to go fish. I'm just trying to go get my feet connected to the earth, and I'm waiting 20 minutes for these boats to go by, and I'm like, "Oh, thank goodness, like a moment of peace, a moment to settle down." I was rushing, and I'll catch myself when I'm in traffic. I'll be like, I was rushing. I was rushing. I let my mind get ahead of me. Let's reel it back in. Let's take this traffic as an opportunity. I'm not saying I love traffic and I'm like, great, it's going to take me 30 minutes to drive to a place that's typically 10 minutes away. But you can't just blame everything on everyone. Like, one thing I complain a lot about the civil engineering job I used to have, but I never put it on my bosses. I almost always try and actually mention how great everyone there was and how they all meant well, and that it was just the environment didn't suit me. But I don't blame my bosses for that. And most people who hate their job, they blame it on another person or something that's out of their control. And then they just use that to excuse themselves. And now you can be the victim. And now you're not responsible to make any change because you're the victim of your circumstances when it's hard to make change. I recognize this. I was like, I don't like this job. The people are cool. I don't want to leave these people hanging, but this job isn't for me. And it's going to be very hard to not just sit here and bitch about it, but I'm going to have to put in the work. I'm going to have to go learn a new skill. I'm going to go have to put myself out there on social media. I'm going to have to do a lot, but it's way better than just being like, oh, my boss, that asshole, but like, and staying the victim.
Yeah, OMG. I have so many things in my head right now. I first want to say the traffic thing, just to close that gap. When I was younger and there was traffic or like we were like running late or whatever, or I don't know, anything, I would get caught at a red light. I would literally in my head be like, maybe I'm being saved from a potential accident right now. Like I would just say that, like, oh, there's a reason this is happening. Like there's a reason. Maybe there was like a split second that a car was not paying attention and I'm just being protected from that. And I still think that way. And that's like been like how many years have I been driving? 14 years that I've been driving. Um so anyway, yes to that. I love that you just said that thing about the boss. That is crazy because you're right. You never blame the people. You're blaming it on the fact that that's not what you, Nick, were meant to do. And that is amazing. And that is such a good thing people can ask themselves. Like, what is it that you're complaining about and what is it that you're blaming it on? Like a lot of people blame the algorithm that their content's not popping off. And if you cannot see Nick on the YouTube video right now and you're listening, he just did the biggest eye roll because it's so true. And I feel bad because, in 2021, I believe I used to blame the algorithm too, where I'd blame it on I don't have a niche or whatever, which I guess is not blaming anyone else but myself. But I would blame it on the fact that I needed a niche. But no, I didn't need a niche. And also, the algorithm is just the algorithm. Like you got to play the game. You got to keep going. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. You can't put all your eggs in TikTok shop right now. It's not as consistent and reliable. Like there are things that people do because they're not aware. Like they don't realize that maybe TikTok shop isn't as reliable at the moment. It's in the early phases. That's okay. You can still do it, but don't put all your effort into just that. And and some people haven't been told that, right? Like they have to learn on their own, and we're here to tell you guys, like whatever that thing is for you, if it's not working after 4 months of doing it or whatever, like just pivot a little. Don't pivot 4 times. I just meant like pivot once, but I'm emphasizing the pivot point, the PP. So, anyway, pivot a little and focus on something that's more reliable. Start there. Like, that is a good way to set the foundation because if you're setting the foundation on something that isn't reliable or is still kind of new, it's not going to really serve you well unless you get lucky, which you might. But don't expect that you will. That's not helpful.
It's so true. I'm trying to think of other examples of like this blame game. People do it a lot with the things they eat. They do it so much with the things they eat. They'll say, "Eating healthy is too expensive."
Snacks are expensive as hell.
I mean, yeah, it's true, but, like, so many I know so many people that blame the way they eat on just like, "Oh, it's too expensive to eat healthy, like, it's cheaper to just get this," or there's just so many scenarios that people just play the blame game, and the biggest thing you can do to, like, find that peace and that zen in your life is take accountability for everything, even things that are totally not your fault. Take accountability for it and watch what happens in your life. I learned this from Jocko Willink.
Yep,
I'm pretty sure he has a whole book
he does.
on this. I definitely read it. I can't think of the name. It's not Discipline Equals Freedom.
Evan read that too, and he talked to me about it. He's like, accountability. And the thing is, Evan takes accountability and gets in trouble. And he isn't even, I'm like, no, you need to tell them it wasn't you. Like, and so it's funny because Evan takes too much accountability sometimes.
It works though. What is it? Extreme ownership. Yep. It works so well. Like, go find a problem in your life. Maybe it works great in relationships. Like, for example, if you and your partner are struggling with something and you know it's your partner's fault, take accountability for it. Say that it was your fault and then fix it and just watch how the rest of your day goes.
It's so true.
It's going to be pretty damn good of a day.
Yeah, when you come at it with, "Hey, I'm sorry if I whatever," or like, "This is what I did and I just want to talk about it." And you're not like, "You did this," and you're not being defensive. Oh my gosh, it works wonders. That is like actual healthy communication whenever you can discuss things like that. So I'm really glad you brought that up because that's also very universal.
Yeah, because when you take accountability first, again, even if it wasn't your fault, then the other person, instead of it escalating and you're trying to one up each other, the other person will take a step back too. And they'll be like, well, you know what? I said a lot of things I didn't mean to. And I'm just sorry. And then they'll end up apologizing for the thing that you know you wanted them to apologize for anyway. And then you've de-escalated the whole situation. Oh my god, it works so well. I'm trying to think of other good examples because it really works always. Maybe the algorithm example. Like, we know so many people that are like, yeah, I think I'm shadow banned. And then we'll go look and they've only made 12 videos ever and they're not good videos. And it's cool. My first probably 50 videos were shit. I get it. It's hard. My videos might be shit still, to be honest. But point being, that person, if they, instead of being like, yeah, I think I'm shadow banned, or like, I think TikTok just hates me. Like, people say that TikTok does not hate you. Are you crazy? Like, instead, what if they came at it from an angle of they and took accountability and they were like, look, honestly, I'm not a good video editor. I know I'm not, and this is why things aren't going well. I'm going to take accountability for that, and I'm going to go on YouTube. Instead of making a video right now that I know is going to flop, I'm going to go on YouTube. I'm just going to watch an hour worth of like basic editing tutorials and take accountability and see if I can get better.
Yeah. One thing too is money. A lot of people, and I know we've talked about this so many times, but they're like, I don't have the money. I wish I could, but I can't because I'll never have that kind of money. That kind of mindset is so bad because I want you to realize, if you haven't heard any of our other podcasts, like, I used to have $0. I used to spend all my time really volunteering at a nonprofit and didn't have anything. But when I realized, like, oh, this is actually like my fault because I could learn a new skill. I could stay up till 2 a.m. learning how to do website design on Squarespace. I could create a marketing company, and I did. And it changed my entire life. I wasn't like, I'm not getting paid enough from this nonprofit when I started working there. I instead was like, ooh, what could I do on the side? What can I do to make a little extra cash? Like, there's so many ways to make money nowadays online. And if I was like in that victim mindset, like, oh, I just don't have the money, like, I didn't have the money, but I was like, oh, I don't have the money yet, but let me work on that. Let me get a goal. Let me set a goal, and hopefully, like, maybe in a year, maybe in 5 years, I'll have the money, but just give me some time. I'll work on it and I'll figure it out. Like, that's really why some people have money and some people stay broke. It's their mindset.
Yeah, money's a great one. You know, it's another big one. Politics.
What do you mean?
People blame their problems on, like, the president.
Oh, yeah, dude, what? Like, what?
It's crazy. I mean, you can't blame the fact, like I mean, yeah, obviously, like, the president and the politicians of our country, like, sure, they are not perfect. They probably could be a lot better. I think things are in pretty bad shape, to be honest with you, but I still have to just take accountability for the things that I can. Like, is the economy terrible? Are interest rates super high? Is it the most expensive it's ever been in the world to try and just buy a single family home and just live a normal life? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the worst it's ever been. But, like, what am I going to do? Just sit here and blame, like, an old man that's president that, like, you can't I don't know, I won't shit talk him too much, I guess. I've given up my stance, but, like, I don't sit here and blame him. I don't even talk about him. I don't care. I don't care about the president or politicians. This is the hand I was dealt. This is the country I live in. It's a lot of money to be alive right now. Okay, guess I gotta go take accountability for that. I gotta go learn some high income skills. I gotta go learn how to make more money, not sit there and complain and be the victim of my circumstances.
Yes, and also ask myself, what can I do about this? Is there anything I can control? Is there anything I can do? I know I'm just one person, but I matter because we all matter. And if we had that mindset and we're like, little by little, let's help out our community, let's help out, like, let's do things to help our economy as a whole, because really we are the ones that can control all that. Like, that old man does not even know what he's talking about most of the time. He's definitely not making all these decisions. It's really us, and it's going to take time, but I think as a society we can get better. But a lot of people just don't know how, and like, I get that. I don't even know a lot about politics, to be completely honest. um but I do know that it's not one person's fault, and that we blaming and pointing fingers at others is never going to help anything. We need to look within and ask ourselves, what can we do to help? Because that's what we can control, and that is so important to ask yourself with any situation that you're in. So yes to politics. What's another one?
Bad luck. Everyone's like, "Oh, I got the worst luck."
Oh my god, that saying makes me so sick. I'm always like, I have the best luck, and I do. Like, it's such a mindset thing that, this is crazy, but there's like three things. I don't know if you grew up like this, but there's like a few things that they're like, if you see this, it's bad luck. So it's like, if you see a black cat, if you walk under a ladder, or if you break a mirror. And it's so funny because when I was a little kid, I remember I broke this little compact mirror, and I was like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say I have bad luck. I was like, I'm gonna say if I accidentally do these things, or if I see a black cat, I'm gonna have the best luck for 7 years. And I'm still that way. Like, if I break a mirror or I see a black cat, I'm like, oh, that's 7 more years that I'm gonna get added to my good luck life, like my little bottle of good luck. Like, it's so funny because it, it's really your mindset. Like, are you thinking you have bad luck, or are you thinking you have good luck? Like, lucky girl syndrome is real.
A bird shit on me the other day. That's good luck, right?
That's good luck. Yeah, good job. 7 years of good luck for bird shit.
There we go. Yeah, seagull shit on my arm. Um,
I love that for you.
thank you. Yeah, it was gross. Just everyone's like, "Oh, I have the worst luck." It's true. You're right. It makes me uh I hate hearing that so much. It truly just sucks the life out of me because luck is just what you make of it. Like if you have trained your brain to see bad luck, you're not going to notice all the good things that happen to you here. Like just picture driving. There's red lights and there's green lights, and you're probably like statistically when you're going from point A to point B, you'll probably hit, let's say you're going to go through 10 lights, you'll probably hit 5 red lights and 5 green lights. Someone with bad luck is going to be like, "Oh my god, look at all these red lights, like we keep getting stuck." And someone with a positive mindset is going to be like, "Oh my god, look at all these green lights, like we are flying here." When realistically, it took you the same amount of time to get there, whether no matter what your attitude was, so you might as well just be positive. You're going to have a better life if you just look at what are the things that happened that were good. Also, this just came to me too. You mentioned this before. I was at the gas station and someone was filling my tank of gas. Two things that you can't relate to because you have an electric car, and New Jersey is the only state where we don't pump our own gas. So
Oh my god, wait, people fill your gas?
there's no way you didn't know that.
I had no effing idea. Is this the 1940s? Like, what? I've seen that on a scary movie, like Jeepers Creepers, I think, or some scary Children of the Corn or like the Hillside Strangler, something.
Not the Hillside Strangler.
That is not real. Are you serious?
In New Jersey,
It was The Hills Have Eyes. Sorry, I just remembered. The Hills Have Eyes. Wait,
I like the Hillside Strangler as a better title.
that's an actual real case though.
Yes, in New Jersey, you're not even allowed to pump your own gas in New Jersey because there's always someone there to do it for you. It makes for a lot of jobs. Imagine like we cut that off. There are gas stations everywhere. New Jersey's the most population dense state. A lot of people would lose their jobs, so we're kind of just like we got gas station attendants.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the point that I wanted to bring that up, it's so funny that you didn't know that.
No.
The point I wanted to bring up is the fact that the dude who was like putting gas in my truck takes a lot of gas. It ain't that quick to fill it up. He like set the thing and then it didn't stick. The pump was giving him problems. So I sat there for like 5 minutes and then he came back and he was like, "Oh my god, dude, I am so sorry. Like this was not even going the whole time." Like, and then he stood there and had to refill it. I was at the gas station for 10 more minutes than I wanted to be. And you mentioned before that like you're always grateful for like traffic or things happen for a reason. I sat there and had a thought to myself. I was like, maybe if it worked the first time, I was gonna pull out and get T-boned. That was the exact thought that I had, and I was like, so therefore, even though I'm on my way to go play golf at Trump National Golf Course, one of the greatest courses ever with my friend, like we're gonna be a couple minutes late now, but I was like, you know what? Better than being dead.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how we should look at life. Like there are things that we think are supposed to happen and they could be so simple or big. And then when they don't, we have to just trust that there's a reason and that there's something better. There's a better door, there's less crazy drivers at that moment. Like when we force things to happen or try to control things that are we're just getting so much resistance on, sometimes we just need to let it go and like let it be the way that it was meant to be because there could be somebody that's crazy and T-boning somebody. Like there could be so many reasons why. And so you have to see it as protection. Like you just have to. That's just a mindset you have to choose. And then if you're not already in that, like it's going to take time, but eventually you'll wake up and that will just be your go-to mindset.
I didn't finish yet. I'm reading a 570-page book. It's long and it is not easy. It's called Autobiography of a Yogi. It's very spiritual. It's almost like one of the first really well-known Indian spiritual based books about yoga. And it's all about this kid. He grows up. Obviously, it's like the whole biography of him. But for most of the book, he's a kid. And it's him just like having these moments. And it's just a book about these moments of his where like he just kind of put his trust in the universe and in his religion. And when he would think things are going wrong, he would be shown that actually they went the way they're supposed to, and it was really eye-opening. I highly recommend it to anyone who's trying to get into that mindset more. It's called Autobiography of a Yogi. I will warn you, tough read. Very difficult because it's not in Indian. Obviously, it's in English, but there's lots of Indian words and phrases and just tons of very challenging, difficult English words even. Like I'm a great reader, but this is probably the toughest book that I've ever voluntarily read, but it was worth it. Highly recommend to anyone who's trying to get a little bit more in touch with like their spiritual side and putting their trust in the universe and that things are unfolding for you, not happening to you.
Mm, preach. You need to say that one again. Things are unfolding for you, not happening to you. Love that. Is that from the book?
No,
Is that
it's
from
from
Nick?
right here. My
Wow.
forehead.
That's that's a really good quote. I like that. Wow.
Yeah. We can break that down more because honestly, I always thought things were happening to me. Like I was stuck in school. I was born this way. I have this challenge. Like I'm not tall enough to be good at basketball. Like all these things. That's not true. I made that one up. I'm 5'11 and a half, maybe.
Oh my god.
But anyway, I used to just always think things were happening to me. Like I'm the victim, but things are happening for me. Like the guy at the gas station there who fucked up putting gas in my truck might have saved my life. And the hard part about understanding that things are happening for you is that you don't always, in fact, very rarely, do you get to see what would have happened and how bad things could have been. Like, I don't know for sure. I probably wasn't going to pull out and get T-boned if things were on time because, like, I know that gas station. Like, I was making a right turn. I only had to look one way and just verify that there was not a car coming. But even still, like, you just never know. It could have happened later, and you often don't get that moment of like, "Oh my god, here's what would have happened." So you have to just think about it and remind yourself like, "Uh-oh, things could have been a lot worse." Like, sure, I got a flat tire today, but like that flat tire might have saved my life. And one really good example of this, there are books written about these people. um, so many stories of people on the day of 9/11 talking about how their train, they missed the subway, and then they're all pissed and they got their victim mindset on and they're like, "Oh my god, I missed the subway because of that damn taxi guy who cut me off and this and that." And their life was spared from this devastating tragedy. There are tons of stories like that. And don't wait until you have that near death experience to finally change your fucking attitude. Don't wait for it to happen because it doesn't always work in your favor. That's actually how the book I'm reading right now starts off. Um, Robin, well, it's Robin Sharma's book. It's not about him, but like the guy in the story gets T-boned. The the guy who hit him dies instantly. The doctors save his life. He was in a coma for like a week, and they're like, "We can't even believe you're alive." And he just immediately is like, "Oh my god, I've been so damn negative. Like, I truly am so blessed. My legs are broken. I might not ever walk again, but like, I truly am so blessed." And you have to have that mindset.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, nobody's gonna have that mindset for you. Nobody's going to do that for you. You have to choose to do it for you because your life is gonna be better. You're gonna leave a better impact on your family, on the society, on the economy. Hello. Like the thing is it's you. Like you're in charge of you. You are allowing what's happening to you based on how you're perceiving what's happening to you. And we just want you to be the best you can be and thrive. Like we want you to be happy and thrive. So that's why we talk about these things because we know how impactful it's been for us. I mean, look at both of our lives. Like we're happy, we're thriving, we're doing what we love. Like everything's great. And it's because we've chosen to allow things to be great and to see that side of things. But I think I break stuff almost every day. Like I'm constantly doing things that are messed up and like I just spill things, like so many inconveniences, but I always laugh and I'm like, oh, I love my life. And I just literally feel that way because I'm like, I'm so glad that I can like even just have the perspective of, oh, this is fine. Like this is funny. Like I'm not perfect. I need to be humbled all the time. Like, and I am humbled all the freaking time.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right about all of that, and I can't emphasize enough. I haven't even had a near death experience. I've had a lot of pretty ugly injuries though. I don't know if that's contributed to my positive attitude that things could have been worse. Like I had a firework blow up in my face and like scratch my eye and blow up and break my hand, but like it was just a scratch to my eye. I had to use some eye drops for like 2 months, and then it kind of healed itself. Um, and I was like, "Damn, I damn near lost an eye, and I have my 2 eyes, and I'm grateful that I can see. I might wake up tomorrow. I might not wake up tomorrow, honestly. Who knows? To me, I don't know what it is, but like being really in touch with my mortality has helped me find so much more peace and success in my life. Like I am so aware that like in less than 2 weeks I'm going to be 26,
Wait, what day is your birthday?
July 15th.
Oh my God, Nick, I didn't even know that. So I'm going to see you right after your birthday. That's so exciting.
Yes, so exciting. But I'm very aware that like, okay, I'm gonna be 26. Average lifespan is like for a male in the US is like 71, 72. Like if I'm blessed, that's like the 1/3 mark in my life. Like that's like, hey, I'm 1/3 of the way down. I'm as youthful as I will ever be. And I am super in touch with that. If I'm lucky, I live to 73. A lot of people don't make it there. I'm very in touch with that, very in touch with it, and I try so hard to live days that I would be proud of if I was like if that was my last day. Here's something also in this book that I'm reading right now that really I must have underlined it 45 times, folded the page. I was like, I need to read this every day. How different would your day be? Like what would you do differently in your day if a doctor told you right now that you have 12 months to live? What would you start doing differently? And I was like, wow.
I don't know if that's good. So I also am very aware of how old I am. And I think that's like kind of the secret to happiness because I know I don't have forever on this earth and I want to have kids someday. I want to have grandkids someday and I want to be alive and healthy and pick them up and run around and like that's why I take care of my body, not so I look like good. It's because I want to feel good. I want to feel good for as many years as possible. And I think that if I knew I was dying in 12 months, I don't know if I would still keep up the same habits because my motivation is like, I want to have kids, I want to have grandkids, I want to write a book, I want to be on movies, like, I want to do all these things. So that's a really deep question to ask because I'm like, what would I do? Because I don't eat a lot of crap, not because it doesn't taste good. Well, a lot of times I'm not craving crap anymore anyway, but I don't do it because I know it's not going to be good for me in like 10 to 20 years from now, you know? So that is a weird question.
I think what you would do is you would start writing a book ASAP
True.
and you would probably try and crank out a child as quickly as you can.
Oh, Jesus. No, because I don't want them to get whatever I'm dying from.
Well, I guess you might be looking too deep into it.
Crank out a
I
child.
would assume that the doctor did not say that it's also highly contagious.
Oh, okay. Well, no, but that's a good question, Nick. I think I would write the book. I think you're right. I think about that all the time. I'm like, dang, I have so much like that yogi person. Like there's so many examples and stories and I just want to share my perspective on things. Like I want to share here's what happened and here's how I thought about it because I think it can help people for forever. And not even making it about me but about like a situation and just have a memoir of like all of that. And if I knew I was dying, I would want to get that out as fast as possible because right now the only thing living is this podcast and my TikTok videos, like in my journals. But yeah, wow, I did think too deep. I'm a deep thinker, homie. You know this. I'm such a deep thinker. I think about everything all the time. ADHD props.
Honestly, though, I think you just had some good thoughts there of just like, I'm not saying you got to go start writing a book today, but it's just it's just a thought exercise to just remind you like, hey, how long are you going to wait for those important things that you know you want to do? Like, when are you going to do them? You know, you don't have to start the book today. You don't have to have a child, but it's just a great thought exercise. And when I read that, I was like, that's a hard hitter. And I was like, I'm doing my best, Robin Sharma. I'm trying here. But like, thank you for the reminder because there's more. There's more I can do to just be happy and zen and proud.
Yeah, everybody can. And even me, you know, sometimes people will be like, oh, how's everything going? And I don't know why. Sometimes I do have a negative thing come out of my head or my mouth, not my head. Nothing's hopefully coming out of my head. And but it feels so icky. Like it used to feel natural to do that. And now I'm like, wait, why would I even, what? I'm so happy. Was I just thinking of something to come up with? Like that's a habitual thing to just say something negative and you have to get out of that. Even if you are the most positive person, you're going to have these habits that come out of you and you just have to check yourself and be like, okay, I'm aware of this. I don't want to continue this. So I'm going to be more intentional that next time my nature isn't going to immediately come out with something negative because that does impact other people. So it's like these little bitty things that we just have to recognize about ourselves over time and then start to change and frame our mindset differently. And it's totally possible.
It's totally possible because I truly was so damn negative. Like most of my life, I truly was so messed up in the brain, and now I feel like I'm the most positive person on, like, the only person that might rival my positivity is you. Like, we can have a positive mindset competition and see who wins, but it's gonna be damn close.
Yeah, that would be funny. Honestly, yeah. Wow.
It's just gonna be a test of, like, terrible things happening to us and us trying to, like, smile through it.
Honestly, though, that's whenever you can really determine where your mind is when something terrible is happening. What are you doing? What are you responding to? How are you responding? What are you saying? What are you thinking? That's almost when you need to grow, is when these bad things happen to you. That is like the best time to be aware and recognize and make some small changes. So, here's to bad things happening and us making the best of it.
It's true, because the bad things are gonna happen anyway. So, nothing you can do except be positive, be happy, find peace in your life, and the only other really important thing to do is go to creationtocashflow.com and leave us a damn voice memo. I so badly want more of these so we can just make podcast episodes for you, the listener. Like, I mean, we get a lot of suggestions and, the things we hear help us create these episodes. But, like, if you like this podcast and you're listening to it right now, so I got to figure you at least enjoy it a little bit. I mean, sure, like, it's nice. We love when you subscribe, give us the 5 stars. It helps us so much. It helps us grow the show and it motivates us more to do more and provide more and work harder at it. But you can have a whole episode about your potential issue, or at least a segment of an episode. So leave us that voice memo on creationtocashflow.com. It'll be fun. At least it's fun for us, and you'll get our perspective on whatever you got going on in your life. Because me and Michelle, we just love to talk and answer questions. Like, we host 2.5 hours worth of open Q&As per week for creators that we work with. We love answering questions. So give us more questions and we will answer them. And you can find Michelle's Instagram and TikTok at MichelleJH. That's Michelle with 2 L's, then 4 E's, then a J, then an H. And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Get Ahead with Nick. And we love you guys, and we hope this episode was helpful, and we can't wait for the next one.